This is the Hero Xoom, a 110cc scooter which could give some serious competition to established brands like the Honda Activa and TVS Jupiter. But it has one problem. Before I talk about the problem, I must mention the price. This one, even the top variant, you can get for 76,699 ex-showroom, which makes it rather affordable compared to its competitors. And as we go along with this video and I tell you about the features and things, this price point you have to keep in mind because that context is very important. To test the cornering lights, we are shooting at night to show you how effective they actually are. Now initially I was a little skeptical if they are just a gimmick or are they actually useful, and I'm happy to report that they do work and they actually illuminate the road on your left or on your right when you're taking a turn. Now obviously if you have a lot of ambient light, then these cornering lamps won't be as efficient and as useful, but if you're on a road which has no street lights or any other kind of lighting, then this really helps. This feature is actually useful. I tested it out on some of the roads and you can see the footage that when you're turning and if there is no light, then it does illuminate a good portion of the road. So it is quite a helpful feature at this price point. The calibration could have been maybe slightly better because sometimes what happens is even if you're going on a straight line but you're just changing lanes, even then the lights are activated at times, which can be a little bit confusing and a little bit distracting. Now while the cornering lights do work really well, I was a bit disappointed to see the performance of the actual headlamp unit. You get an LED setup with a nice looking DRL, but the throw of the headlight is not that great. Even if you switch on to the high beam, you do not get a very good visibility. I feel that Hero could have done a bit more with increasing the distance that you can see with the high beam arm. So that's one thing that the company can definitely improve on. Something that a lot of buyers will truly appreciate about the Hero Xoom is its design. It looks very smart and it has an edge over its competition because it is the latest product in the segment. The others, they have been here for a long time, they have been here for years, and because of that their design has sort of become a little too old, and they do keep on adding some cosmetic changes to make them fresh, but there's nothing that can beat a ground up new design. And you can also see because of that this has a lot of lines, a lot of panels, creases all throughout, and even the color options are really vibrant. So that makes this a visual treat, and it's kind of hard to imagine that this is just an entry-level 110cc scooter, and despite that it has some gorgeous design language all throughout. Even the quality is pretty decent. I won't say it's the best, but it is pretty decent. I could not find any panels that looked dodgy or not properly put together. At the front you have this nice X-shaped LED DRL. The same design is also seen at the back in the tail lamp. You also get LED projector headlamps, so that is quite good. But the turn indicators that you see here are halogen, but I do not mind them as much because again this is an entry-level scooter after all. Another neat thing about the design of the Xoom are these hidden grab handles. You don't have an extra piece over here, which means that the design is more seamless, and these are also functional. They're not just there for show. Whether you have a pillion sitting at the back who wants to hold on to something, or if you are pulling the scooter back and need a place to hold on to, these work perfectly well. Further back you can see that the seat is quite nice and wide with a seat height of just 770 mm. You can easily get onto the saddle, have your feet planted on the ground, and there is enough room for two people. Even if you're carrying some bags, you can still have enough space for two people to sit comfortably on the scooter. And also, let me show you the instrument cluster. You are getting a completely digital instrument cluster in this. Yes, the design is a little basic, but for this segment, it serves its purpose. You get readings like your speed, you have an average fuel efficiency indicator, you have your odometer and a trip meter as well. It shows you the time and the amount of fuel you have in the vehicle. And I also really like these buttons, which are really easy to press. In a lot of vehicles I've seen that pressing the button requires a lot of effort, but in this one you can very easily press them and toggle between the different readings. There is also a line of indicators here which show you things like if your turn indicator is on, or if your side stand is open, or you're using high beam, and some other things like that. And it's quite visible also. Even under direct sunlight, I could easily read all the things that are on the display. The only thing that I wish Hero could have added on this display is a distance to empty reading, which can be very helpful apart from having the normal fuel level. Apart from this, you can also pair this scooter with a smartphone and get call and SMS alerts on the display. You get two storage spaces in the front where you can easily keep a normal sized water bottle. There is also a USB charging port, not the most convenient place to put the charging port, but you can still easily access it without too much trouble and keep your phone in one of these pockets and it won't fall out because the pocket is quite deep. You get a hook to put your luggage on, and the underseat storage is also pretty decent, and I was able to fit a normal full face helmet inside and close the seat. The fuel filler cap is also under the seat, which means that when you go to the petrol pump and want to refuel the scooter, you will have to get off and refuel it. One thing that Hero has missed out on providing is a parking brake, which is a fairly simple thing to add to scooters and is a nice feature addition, especially if you're parking on inclines. And I think, yeah, Hero could have provided that on this. Now let's talk about the 110cc single-cylinder air-cooled engine. It produces about 8 horsepower and 8.7 Newton meters of torque, which is comparable to the rest of the competition. And just like its name, it does zoom around, it does feel very enthusiastic, very eager to get off the line. But this is also the point where that problem that I mentioned comes in. You see, while this has plenty of power, even with 2 people on board, I was able to take it up to 80 kmph, and it does get off the line very nicely and quickly, but it does lack a sense of refinement in a lot of places. You see, as you're in the middle of the rev band, you will notice a lot of vibrations coming through the floorboard. They're not terrible, but you do notice them, and as you cross 60 or 65 kmph, it does become better. So in the higher revs, the scooter does become smoother, but in the middle, that 30 to 50 kmph speed, which is what you will be doing mostly in the city, it does feel a little less refined compared to some other offerings. Also, the on-off throttle transitions on the scooter are quite apparent, and you do feel some jerks as you roll off the throttle. So basically, when you're riding and you let go of the accelerator to gently come down to a halt, the scooter will use a bit more engine braking than is necessary, and that's why you have those jerks when you either pull the accelerator or let go of it. So I would urge Hero to work on these small bits to make the scooter a bit more refined, a bit more modern as per its looks. Right now it feels a little mechanical. Even when you're pulling the brake levers, you do feel a sense of effort when you're pulling them, and even the same goes for the accelerator as well. What I absolutely loved were the 12-inch tires. Not only do they look smart with the alloys on them, they also provide a lot of grip. This scooter does not feel like one of those regular scooters which when you take a turn feel as if they're going to dip and fall. With this one, even at higher speeds, I was able to take corners with a lot of confidence. The wider 100 section tire at the back also is to be credited for that amount of grip that you're getting, but I think in general also the front tire and the rear tire both provide excellent amount of grip. The brakes, you can see that there is a disc at the front and a drum at the rear. In the base variant, you have drums on both ends, and I would recommend that you go for the disc one because the drum brake at the rear feels like it requires a little more bite than the front is able to deliver. So the front brake usage was pretty good. The rear maybe could have done with a little more biting power. As for the suspension, it's pretty average in terms of the comfort that you get. You do feel a lot of the bumps at high speeds. At lower speeds it does perform a little better, and I think the rear spring is a bit too stiff. Maybe that could be a little softer to increase the comfort for the rider and the pillion. So in summary, you can see that this is an attractive scooter in its design. It has a lot of segment first features that are actually useful as well, but the engine does require some work on the refinement front, and if Hero can work on that, this is a peppy scooter. It is a fun to ride machine, and with that refinement bit improved, I think this could very well be the best offering in the 110cc scooter segment. For you, if you can overlook that part, then I think this is going to be a good offering. But there's one more thing which people in this segment look for, and that is reliability. Generally, people tend to buy a scooter and keep it for a long time, and the Activa has made its name known because of its robust nature and because of how long people have kept it, and it still has been delivering. Now, that reliability factor, well, we'll only see as the time goes by. We can't comment on it right now, but in its feature set, in its design, and its fun to ride character, I can definitely recommend the Hero Xoom. You should go and check it out. Also, I would like to know, when you buy a vehicle, for how many years do you generally keep it before you move on to the next one? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, might as well like this video if you have liked the information that was provided. Subscribe to our channel if you have not done that up until now. Press the bell icon so that you get notified every time we put out a new video. This is Akash Paul signing off for now, hoping that you drive safe and ride safe whenever you are out on the road. Bye bye.